Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Hannah Stalinescu. I'm a local artist here in Georgia. 2 seconds out here and I'm already freezing cold, so come inside. Let me show you my studio. So this is my studio. Welcome in, make yourselves at home. Hi, my name is Hannah Stalinescu. I am currently an art student in my last semester of art school, and my main focus is digital illustration and sculpture. So this is my parents' unfinished basement. They transformed it into my own personal art studio that I can work on all my things. I have a lot going on here, obviously. There is a lot of mediums that I'm currently trying to explore and dip my toes into. So I have a lot of textiles, yarns, I have a lot of fabric. I have my sewing machine down here. And a big part of setting up the studio, really, I wanted to have a lot of my art displayed so that I could gather inspiration from previous projects and kind of almost guide me in a certain direction of where I want to go with future works and just to keep me inspired. I even have some other artists' work as inspiration, and yeah, so there's a lot going on, but it definitely is nice to know that I have most of the materials that I look for when I want to grab something new, or if I want to try something new. I have even some drawers filled with what I would call what people would call trash, but I collected at one point a bunch of milk caps, and I have plans on making trash art and finding ways to incorporate sustainability in my work and upcycle and repurpose different things. I think that's something that I'm able to do with a lot of the trash or materials I have in my studio. I think the biggest ways that my studio down here reflects me as an artist is a big part of what you see when you walk in is color. There's a lot of color. There's also a lot of different materials and mediums going on. I have a lot of laser cut wood bugs that I made, and I worked a lot this past semester with fabric and painting fabric. And there's a lot of projects that I've worked on that were definitely newer for me and on a bigger scale. And I think it just really reflects me and my art journey in a way that it shows that I'm unafraid of trying new things because there's a lot of different things going on here. And yeah. So normally in this space, I have taken on a lot of big painting projects, and I have a really bad habit of working on the floor. So having a desk now, and actually 2 desks to where I can work on things, is really nice. And I do a majority of painting down here, and because I'm able to have a bigger space to do that. And I have all of my materials down here, so a lot of times I'll find myself experimenting and laying stuff together or putting stuff together in a way that is exciting to me and new. So it's nice to have all my stuff in one place to where I can experiment. I first realized I was passionate about art for sure when I was very little. My mom is a professional artist. She's a graphic designer, and she went to art school. And I think when me and my brother were younger, she really wanted to make sure that we grew up drawing and in the creative space and in a space where we can feel comfortable creating and bringing new and innovative ideas. And so I have a lot of moments when I was younger where I can remember being so content just drawing silly little faces or figures or whatever it may be. My mom actually also would digitalize our pieces, and she would make like digital versions of them, which was really cool to see at such a young age, and to think that like what you can create can be bigger than what it is just in that moment. I don't know. Yeah. So definitely when I was very little. I can't say an exact age, but it definitely was definitely when I was young. I would definitely say one of the pieces that I'm most proud of, for sure, is my moth wings. These took me about a month to make. I brazed coat hanger wire underneath them, which is brazing is very similar to soldering, where basically you torch metal and you use the metal as like a glue. So I brazed the wings. There's like metal veins in all of these, and then I sewed the fabric. So then I sewed it with a sewing machine, and then I hand sewed the fabric to the wire, and it's also wearable. So they're a pair of wearable wings, and I feel like I got it pretty accurate to a comet moth's. This is based off of a comet moth, also known as a Madagascar moon moth. Um, and I was really going for accuracy. So with like the felt and the soft kind of material, it really replicates the soft moth wings. Yeah, so I was really just going for accuracy there, and I feel really proud of them. And I also wore them to the Renaissance Festival, so I got a lot of compliments and questions, and I was like, I told everybody, I was like, I'm just a sculpture student that likes attention, so duh. Anyways, yeah, and the antennas I made from the stiff polyfill and painted them. So very proud of that. The way that it goes, it has to stick in like my clothes somehow, so I can just kind of like that. This. Yeah. I think what's inspired me to pursue art as not just a hobby but a way of life has been learning the weight that art can hold and the depth that a lot of pieces have, and even finding my own voice, my own artistic voice, and understanding that a lot of what I feel can be turned into something new, something creative. I can take something painful that I've walked through and make something out of it, something physical, something tangible, something that can be displayed and help others in that same way that it helped me in that moment. Once I understood that creating art wasn't just this surface level thing, I realized that nothing I was ever going to make and the way that I went about it was ever going to be the same again. Being such an emotional person, or I guess growing up what you call like sensitive, being able to take that and make art that is important and brings value into the world means that I had to take it a lot more seriously than just drawing cute things or drawing things that made me happy, but also understanding how it can change people's perspectives and my own life. And yeah. I think one of the coolest things about now being in my final semester of art school and having done art for as long as I have, has really been being able to see how art making has been one of the most healthy and productive ways that I've been able to process my feelings. Because I journal and I talk to my friends and, you know, talk to people, but I think when you get to a point where you're looking at a blank canvas and trying to really get to the innermost parts of yourself and your circumstance and your feelings, it really, you start to unpack what it all means to you and how it's affected you. And there's so many different things you have to think about and try and incorporate into a piece of art. And I feel like the whole creative process of that and going through that really reflects the healing process. And just like with a piece I had made about my best friend who I lost, it was as much as it was as much as it was to honor her and who she was to me and to the people around her, and in general, a big part of it was me processing my own grief and my emotions about her death and how it's affected me. And I think in also in the act of creating it, I was able to really slow down and be present in those moments rather than try and kind of avoid them. Because when you're creating art about something specific and meaningful to you, to other people, you have to confront it. You have to confront the feelings about it. You have to confront the issues, the topics, whatever that involve that specific concept or piece. And so to make the work, you have to confront the feelings, and confronting the feelings means that you're going to have to process them in whatever way that may be. The biggest thing that I think I'm also really trying to discover about myself and my work too, and really work towards this semester, this final semester, and, you know, for the rest of my art career, is really just making people feel seen with my work, and in a way that's not blunt or more painful than what people have already experienced, but in a way that draws them in. It makes them be so glad that someone sees them, but also it gives them a moment of emotional rest because it's not so direct in a way that makes you kind of have to relive certain experiences. Yeah, that's what I would say. My approach to art has changed, I would say, the most since being in my senior classes and having these independent study classes where I have the help of my professors, but also the space to explore not just mediums, which is also really important to me, but explore new concepts that I can bring into my art and find ways to intertwine my own visual and artistic style with the concepts and the things I want to be able to talk about with my work. So I think it's changed in the way that you get to a point where you realize, wow, I really like to draw, or I really like to paint, or I really like to make art dolls or sculptures. And then when you start to finally find that artistic voice and what we would call style, then you have to ask yourself, do I want to keep creating things that I like to look at or that other people like to look at? Or do I want to bring more weight into it and bring more depth into it? And then you start to realize that art can be perspective changing for people, and it could be groundbreaking in so many different ways that I think you wouldn't have imagined before when you were just creating because it felt good. So I definitely view art and even art making, the process of it all, in a way that reflects emotional processing of my own. And there's just a lot of interconnectedness there where I simultaneously process my feelings and my circumstances through the work that I'm creating. yeah, I definitely have found myself, what I like to say, like journaling with my art, where I'll make art of my feelings, even if it's like bad or ugly art. And it really, yeah, it is life changing. I don't know. Yeah. I definitely would say my mom has been the biggest influence at the young age that I started art making and creating. I think the reason that happened was because of my mom and the fact that she was a very and is a very creative person and values art and art making. And so having her have me and my brother draw at such a young age and see also the value in that really shaped me when I was young. And I think now, as an adult artist and someone who's going to go into the art field and be a career artist, I think everything in my life inspires me. I think the biggest thing I would say is my own personal experiences probably are the biggest influence my art. A lot of the things I love, things that I enjoy, I find ways to combine that with the things I'm going through. And yeah, I definitely think personal experience for me is a big influence with my current art and style, and yeah, or something like that. This is a mixed media piece that I made um, about my best friend Grace. She passed away in August 2022, and it's clearly in two separate pieces now because she's been through a lot. Basically, life-size portrait of her. All of this is cardboard and layered and cut out, and then the background was a lot of intuitive kind of sit in the sun and paint and enjoy myself and think about life and my grief and how it was affecting me at that moment. Yeah, I wanted to depict her in a very regal pose, looking up. She had a very strong faith in and a strong relationship with the Lord, and definitely closer to the time of her death. And so um, there was a lot about her that stayed the same to the end. She was definitely one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life, and so I wanted to be able to show that off and show how beautiful she is, but also to um, just put kind of her struggles on display and use a lot of yarn, textiles. A lot of this is thrifted. She loves thrifting. Um, this yarn here are in spiral shapes to depict her tumors. And then on this right side is her healed side, is what I call it, with flowers and growth. And yeah, and another thing I wanted to incorporate was the use of digital art, because that was a big thing. It's a big thing for me, is digital work. And so I created these cards digitally, and then let a lot of Grace's close friends write letters to her in them, as well as included my own journal entries about my grief in them. And when it was displayed in the gallery show that I had this piece in, it was displayed with all the cards open, so you could read through the cards. It was supposed to be basically an interactive piece where people could read about her as well as look at her and admire her perseverance and her strength and her struggles and all of the tangledness that was going on in this piece. But this was definitely my first time really experimenting with a multitude of mediums and trying to find a way to make it not only look and feel cohesive, but also really drive a certain point across and depict something that was really important to me, someone who was really important to me, but also my own feelings about it all and my own processing and my own grief. And yeah, in a very healthy and important way, and also a really colorful way, because Grace was a very colorful and awesome person. I, I could also just talk about her for a long time, but yeah, anyways. So I did these pieces based off of pollution. I went to my local park and I picked up trash for I think an hour to 2 hours and gathered a bunch of pieces and adhered them to these paintings and painted over them to make it look to make it be a cohesive piece. Yeah, so they're supposed to be a pieces to raise awareness for pollution and how many hermit crabs find trash and make their homes in trash, which is really interesting because I was looking for reference pictures when I was working on these projects, and the amount of reference pictures I could find of hermit crabs using so many different kinds of trash and found objects to make their homes. It's just insane. So yeah, definitely some pieces to bring awareness to that. And they actually won 2 awards at the gallery show. So I was very proud of them before that and even more proud of it afterwards, because it just means a lot to get your work noticed, and especially pieces that are really important and impactful. So yeah, and I worked really hard on them. And my creative process, I would say, looks different, honestly, every piece that I work with. I think there's enough consistency for me to feel confident in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, of course, but I think a lot of times because of how many interests I have when it comes to mediums, topics, even, subject matter, I think I just go with the flow in a way. A lot of times, like I said, I will sketch out my ideas, or I'll take ideas that I've had in the past or things that never got completed or turned into a project, and kind of just decide how I want to go about it in a way that works, that I enjoy, but then also works for the piece in the end. So I'd say my creative process is definitely always kind of different, maybe a little chaotic, but I always get to where I want to be, I think, in the end with my works. And I enjoy the entirety of it from beginning to end. Well, thank you guys so much for letting me talk about my artwork and about my art journey. I hope you enjoyed, and I got a lot of art to make, so see you next time. Are we rolling? The fact that my name's Hannah Stalinescu. I'm a local. Okay. Okay. No, I hated how I was sounding. We have to start over. I'll just be saying words. And the words somehow maybe mean something. Okay, go on. Hold on. Oh my god. The pieces that I'm most proud of would probably be ones that okay, girl. Welcome back to my channel. Doing that in a way. Hold on. Let me think what I'm trying to say and not just say random things and hope they go together. two pieces. They're what's known as a diptych. A diptych. Oops. Okay. This is a really important piece to me that I have. I say that as it's... Wait, give me a second. Hold on.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I didn't...
Yeah, I really think... Girl. Hold on. Okay, let me... Art for me has... This is this, are you still going? Okay. Should I say it now? Can I talk? Okay. Or you can follow me home, that's fine too. Follow me.